Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDF44 coming at you with another video. Um, I didn't really want to turn on the camera this morning for a therapy session because I was feeling pretty damn pessimistic. Uh, and I don't really like getting on here feeling pessimistic because I don't think it's constructive. You know, it may be good enough for me to get that out, but if it's ain't nothing but negativity, it can't help anybody. It doesn't even help me. You know what I mean? It may help me in a sense of getting it out, but that's it. So rather than to talk about what I was actually feeling, I want to talk about what I want to feel. I want to feel like I can handle everything in front of me. I want to feel like it's perfectly normal for me to face the stresses of my life, to go out there, work, get in the workforce like I always have been doing, collect my check, take on whatever the day happens, come home from my work, smoke my little weed, take my shower, whatever I do, enjoy my night, enjoy my weekends, you know what I mean? Do the job itself for the 8 hours, 10 hours I got to do it, and come home every day and just be content with that. I guess that's what I should want, right? For my level of life, for what it is I have, for my bills and things of that nature. That's what I should want. Now, let's zoom out and talk about a little more. On another level, I want to live in a world where we don't need to continue to churn at things we don't love to do to make a living for ourselves. Where we live in a world where somebody sees somebody starving and they give them what they need to see to it that doesn't happen anymore. I want to live in a world where our government doesn't need to tax us repeatedly just for it to function properly. I want to live in a world where other countries that are doing much worse than us are just simply not. Where I don't have to turn on CNN and various stations and hear about suffering over there, poverty over there, people being mistreated over here, and how it's supposed to be acceptable over there. I want to live in a world where animals are safe from the industrial actions of men and women, that the seas are safe, that we don't see exotic fish surfacing to the shore when they've lived million years under the sea. Suddenly all of the junk that we've done is making it so that they're dying and surfacing so that we're seeing them for the very first time. I want to live in a world where, we don't make fun of the dead just because it's cool to do so. Like, in our culture, killing each other, tribalism and stuff, where a brother could be his own, he could be at odds with his own cousin just because of where he lived, where he from, and what they're about. The spirit of revenge seems to be more powerful than the spirit of forgiveness. I want to live in a world where women feel safe, where they don't have to be attacked in any way, shape, or form at any time without having a fleet of people coming to their defense. Where people don't pull out their phones and watch people suffer, but they'll get involved and stop it from happening. I want to live in a world where you have more time to spend with people. You got more time to spend doing the things you love to do, where people are more intent on making it so that other people's lives are easier as opposed to hard. Live in a world where children can't even get cancer, that it just doesn't enter their bodies because they're so young. They can't even have those certain types of diseases, whereas science is so incredibly advanced that all of what we need is here. If we need food, we can manifest it. If we need better oxygen, it manifests it. If we need better everything, clean everything, that it can be done. This snap of a finger, so that we can all be healthy to the best of our abilities. I want to live in a world where we can balance out competition and constructive criticism and things like that, and not have it bleed into bad sportsmanship, or us acting as if something has happened to us personally because of a ego rupture, like a loss or doing something that might embarrass you, that it doesn't beget more evil within our hearts, that it doesn't beget more frustration within us. I wish that I lived in a world where trauma didn't exist, where people with mental health issues had all the help that they needed, where a city like Los Angeles had mental health services open, and that there were no homeless people or sick people out here. I wish I lived in a world where the relationship between law enforcement and people like myself was better. That some of the notions and some of the things that we have going on in our minds and in our past doesn't affect how we move going forward, and doesn't affect how we look at one another going forward. I wish that we weren't separated by various things that we separate one another for, and if we were to choose to be separate, that it wouldn't be in bad energy, that it wouldn't be riddled with a lack of desire to converse and understand others who may be over there or think a little differently. I wish that I lived in a place where I could do more for others in my position without having to pull teeth out of my head, or so I perceive it, just to get myself together. Kind of wished I lived in a world where people didn't look so much toward impressing others with things that aren't natural. Trying so hard to live up to other people's expectations, doing all kinds of things that don't benefit them in the long term, but in the short term make them feel better about living up to those expectations. Lived in a world where numbers aren't so important. I gotta have this many views, so I'm gonna say this many things so that everybody pays attention to me, and then I got everybody's attention. Now I can say what matters. People don't have to do shock jock stuff just to get people to pay attention to them. So where people don't have to sign with companies and give away certain freedoms just so they can find the promotion that they're looking for to make them whatever it is they want to be, famous or what have you. Signing bad contracts, being locked into bull crap. I wish I lived in a world where corporations didn't have a stranglehold on its citizens, on the Earth's citizens. I didn't have to pay monthly bills into stuff that I don't even really need. Like insurance. Maybe I'll need it, maybe I won't. But I gotta definitely pay into it as if I need it all the time. The notion of needing it is what's valuable, so therefore, it's bullshit. I wish I lived in a world where, it's a lot of money stuff. I wish money was plentiful, and everything that had to do with money was secondary in our mindset, as opposed to being the very thing that makes people go out and do crazy stuff. I live in a city right now where I wish it were a little more safe for people to walk around right now. People didn't feel so desperate. Where people didn't perceive people who don't have a lot as people who don't want to do a lot. Seeing where they come from. I wish I lived in a world where it was natural to seek context and seek understanding, as opposed to being quick to speak, being quick to react from your perspective, from my perspective, or what have you, as opposed to seeking understanding of how a person is going through whatever they're going through, or how they feel, or how they manage. And if we cared enough, I wish I lived in a world where people cared more, but it didn't hurt so much to do so. I wish I lived in a world that people could still communicate with their loved ones who are no longer with them. Where people don't have to be forever gone from those they've lost. So they don't have to enter the afterlife in order to spend time with those people. I wish I lived out in a reality where that was the case. That we could go to the people that made us feel the most encouraged or safe or what have you, who may not be with us anymore, and still be able to receive what it is we need from them, even though they're no longer in the flesh. I wish that were possible. I wish that whoever lost their son or their daughter this morning didn't have to go through that. Whoever lost their mom or dad this morning didn't have to go through that. I wish everybody believed in prayer like I believe in prayer, because I've seen so many miracles even in my own life that I feel like if everybody was on that, we would see mountains moved. We would see beautiful things. I wish I lived in a world where that was common knowledge as what the Kardashians were wearing yesterday, or what Donald Trump's up to or something like that. As much as we pay attention to various people, I wish we paid attention to what it is that we do in terms of the energy that we put out, the karma that we take in. I wish we lived in a world where people accept one another for things that maybe don't come naturally to one another. You do this, I don't know nothing about that, but I can stand in solidarity with you because that's that. And in a world where if that's not happening, you don't see too much pressure on the other end of things turning those who have been treated poorly into the very monsters that they don't want to become. I've seen so much of that. People who've been on the bottom for so long, till when they get on the top, they're even worse than the people that were treating them poorly. That there wasn't no pressure system in terms of no pressures that people can't handle or pressures that cripple people to various degrees, turning them into lesser versions of themselves and weaker versions of themselves, addictions and things of that nature. I wish we lived in a world where drugs were safer, where those who want to experience supernatural trips didn't have to face unfortunate consequences with it. Death, addiction, decimation of their body, just so they can enjoy a reality beyond anything that they could see in their natural mind. I wish people could find balance for their stresses in such a way that they don't even turn to those crutches. And most of all, I wish I could be more impactful so that these very words could turn what it is that I want to see into a reality. And I seek balance for what it is that I can't seem to find balance within. And most importantly, I wish I could find myself in a position to where I don't feel as selfish for wanting the world to be what it is I want it to be, for wanting things to be what I perceive to be better. I wish that I could settle in the world that I'm in and find the best of that without wanting more or needing more or making videos like this where I wish things were different. I want to be cool with what it is. I want to be satisfied and fulfilled with the real reality as opposed to not being, as I feel myself waking up feeling today. So I hope that through all of the pessimistic energy that I truly feel, that my hopes through these words will provide something greater than what I'm feeling right now. My name is BDF44. Thank you all for watching. I'm out.